Stephen DiRado is a documentary photographer, a filmmaker, and educator. He is known for his unique and captivating approach to photography. With a career spanning over 4 decades, Stephen DiRado has been a faculty member at Clark University since 1982, a testament to his unwavering dedication to the craft. He shoots in black and white using a large format camera. Today, on The Crit House, Stephen DiRado discusses his myFIVE images from Jean DiRado, Paul Strand, August Sander, Bill Owens, and the great Harry Callahan. Stephen DiRado, it is great to have you on The Crit House. I have been a fan of your photography for some time, and I know that I am not the only one. So welcome.
Oh, thank you so much, Jeff. This is an honor to be here.
Oh.
I'll just
said that
stop it.
before, and I'm like,
it.
no, it's our honor to have you.
We're gonna use up 15 minutes with us jumping on this. So go for it.
So you have been a photographer for quite some time. How do you talk about yourself as a photographer? What do you tell people about what you do and who you are?
When I was 18, it would have taken me an hour to talk about it. When I was 30, about 20 minutes. And now I just simply say that I'm a social sculptor. And that's it. It's just in less than a sentence. It's just a phrase. And what that means is that I bring my camera, my art to the people. I work in communities, individuals, and couples, and I'll spend anywhere from months with them to decades photographing them. And adding to this, I cook for them, I take care of them, and I help many of them in recent years die. And that's part of my art. I know it, but I'm on the other side of it now. So that's what's happening. But that's what I do. It's pretty unique.
So you had this assignment to pick 5 images, and most people tell me, not everyone, most people tell me it's a challenge to do it. Easy, hard, what did you go through? And is there a through line in the images that we're going to talk about today?
Well, when we connected and we set up this date, and it was like 6 weeks ago, I thought, this is easy. I can do this in 5 minutes. That's a genuine laugh right there, is that it created an enormous amount of anxiety because I now 150 that I could start with. So what I decided to do is go back to seriously the things that inspired me in books, museums, art history classrooms that made me think the first time round. And again, I'm always looking at work. I'm ceaselessly going through new books. I'm ravenous about it. And so I'm still inspired by up and coming as well as history. But yes, these 5 photos that we're about to talk to are truly inspirational and the beginnings in my career. This is a photo made by Jean DiRado, my father. And it's incredibly inspiring, inspirational, and profound, all in one take, looking at this photo. So when I was growing up, my father was the biographer, the one documenting family coming together for holidays, for picnics, vacations. And he had his Canon camera and his Rolleiflex with him all the time. Now, he was an artist. His trade was a graphic artist for the state of Massachusetts. That's how he made his living. But nights and weekends, he photographed family. And we always ended up every month with a slideshow of the best hits of things that he shot, Kodachrome and Ektachrome. And it was something I looked forward to. And, I think, he was trained as an artist. So, there was a sense of design, a purpose for the image, the placement that you see within the frame. But I was seeing them as a young kid, exposed to culture by my father as something incredibly profound. One, I know the people in the photos, so I'm very dearing to them, but also the things that he caught in one frame, something that nobody else saw in the family, that blew my mind when these things were projected on the playroom wall, along with a little bit of popcorn and Coca-Cola looking at these. And this is one that haunted me since I was a kid. Matter of fact, after my father's passing, I actually have it in my collection here in my studio. And it's you look at this and you have this birthday cake, a severed hand with a watch on the wrists or the backside of the hand, right? And you have these 3 drinks, cigarettes. It's actually my grandmother on the far right in the background, and it's a cavernous environment. So again, there's a lot of questions here, and it's open for a narrative. the pearls, everything about this, the mouth is puckering, ready to blow out, or just blew out the candle. And I just find this just art. When I look at this, it really does inspire me. And I hope half the time to make a photo so open and not stilted like this image, and thousands, by the way. I'm just showing you one that my father made. And of course, he did it just by the fact of a loving family through the camera. Yeah, all the other photos that I'm about to talk about are about art and modernism and all that other good hard history stuff. So this was the pure joy of process
Hmm.
and connections. This is it. This is where we're going to go. And connections is that, he was photographing the extended family, both sides, paternal, maternal side of the family, as a way to connect. He was not a very articulate person, somewhat shy. And the camera, I thought, watching, this is not only the photo as a result, it's actually watching the person make the photo, which was part of it too. Well, watching how he interacted with family, how they respected him, how the minute he had a camera in his hand, how it changed the dynamics of the room.
Yeah.
That was really powerful stuff for me, that he could tame a savage table of a bunch of Italians after 3 drinks of homemade wine. And with his camera, they'd go calm for a few seconds to say cheese or formaggio. And then the party continues. And that whole thing about process and those connections. And then the fact Sundays with a bowl of popcorn and Coca-Cola, that he would bring the family together, first
Love it.
cousins, aunts,
Yeah.
and uncles, and project this on a Sawyer, not even a Kodak carousel, but a Sawyer
Hmm.
projector onto the wall. And it was like it was home movies. And oh, by the way, he played home movies too. But the single frames are the ones that I really truly held on to. So yeah, this is great that we're coming into this at a far more personal level here.
Yeah. So from your family to another, from one
You know,
Italian
and
family
and
to another Italian family.
yeah, and I was like, oh my God, I keep picking families. So Paul Strand, this is I was exposed to Paul Strand probably 17 or 18 years old, and again going through Strand's books. And by the way, I pretty much lived in a library in Marlborough, Massachusetts, in my high school years. I wasn't good at sports. I kept breaking things. I was the football, but I found a safe haven and a just a stunning, magical world. If I wasn't in a museum, my father was very good about bringing fame to the museums in Boston, and I was in the Marlborough Public Library in the art section, both with magazines and art books, and came across this Paul Strand, one of the Paul Strand books by Aperture, and I came across this photo. And by the way, at a very early age, um, a friends exposed me to large format cameras, a 4x5, and then right then and there I realized that I could design on the plate, on the ground glass, and move, basically the structure of the image in geometric shapes. And then I came across, well, I liked Paul Strand in general, but this one here was like, oh my God, everybody has a place that they can perform or present to the camera. And to this day, I have to hold on to this image as one of my really inspirational and powerful. And I'm going to say this, working large format. Unlike the very fluid image you saw of my father's earlier, the severed hand and the watch and all that other stuff, everything has its place. And it's all about large format. It's about what large format does really well. It really does render in great detail.
August Sander.
Oh, how can you not put Sander in? Come on, probably everybody you interviewed has a Sander, right? But they probably have the guy, the Saucier guy or whatever the guy. So, or some of the soldiers, or the 3 guys with the canes, right? Yeah, I picked this one. I knew I had to. I felt like I had no choice. What I liked was how animated his subjects are. The fact is that, here we have what's this, the painter's wife, I think it's called, and that it's almost like she was caught like with a small 35, very fluid. It then go back to my father's image again with the
Yep.
birthday cake. And the fact is that we have a little hint of the backdrop there. Design is all in there, but how cool this person is, and androgynous too. The fact that this is not a traditional portrait of somebody sitting down, one arm up in a chair and looking 3/4 into the camera. This is a bit of a defiant person that we look at. And again, just glowing there, all of these white clothes and the gaucho pants and the slippers. It's just, to me, as one that I go back to over and over and over to look at. And these are the people that, and I think Sander, maybe more than anybody else, in a kind of an intellectual coolness about this work that I find. I find that there's a lot of deep thinking going on. Now, we mentioned earlier Paul Strand, but that to me is geometry
Hmm.
fitting into the frame. And Steve, in quote unquote, just, I'm sure Strand had a great rapport with his subjects. You can see it in their face, all their faces. But Sanders' work is a lot more reflective, thoughtful, considered, and letting the power of the subject come through louder than the photographer that's behind the camera.
Bill Owens with your fourth image. I am.
Oh my God.
Tell me about this one.
Yeah. So Bill Owens came out with that book Suburbia. And this is one of the ones that I saw in the library. And, I could have put Eggleston in here too as well. But Bill Owens is like, oh my God, he's photographing an extended family. That's what I want to do. And that's what my father did. And this one is not considered for the edges. Who cares about a ceiling? But we have the ceiling being of about 18%, 20% of the frame. But I love the innocence. But this is opposite. This is completely opposite of Sanders. That's why I'm putting Bill Owens in. And the fact is that this person is the community. Went into what was it called? It was called Livermore, I think, California, and photographing there as a journalist for a local paper. And it was that whole thing with Levittown, I think, all the stuff that
Jersey,
and these built instant communities with cul-de-sacs, and that families get together. And this one, I actually did do a little extra research after I pulled these out, and it's I think it's like Chinese family or Asian family eating hot dogs on Saturday. And then I continued trying to find, you can't find a lot of information specifics, but then I found that this is a family that cooked traditional meals, but became Americanized, and hot dogs are the coolest thing. And the furniture, I like the fact that there's a bar behind them, the phone on the wall, that crazy kind of kitschy wallpaper, and that they're posing for the camera. This is not a first time round. They've been doing this for a while. Is that the camera is a really event to be taken here in this shot. But all of Bill Owens' work from Suburbia, and some of them are incredible, right? Some of them are actually, just by default of what he did, are masterpieces. They're pretty amazing. So I had to throw this in here because it's a direct connection to what I do when I do the dinner series and photograph people and family.
Well, I'm glad you threw it in, and we'll finish off with one of the all-time greats, Harry Callahan and Eleanor.
Yeah. So I had the honors to actually have a number of dinners with Harry and Eleanor. Harry wanted to talk about baseball, could care less about photography. And anything that he did with Eleanor, I just marveled, even as a kid back in my high school days. To me, it was a real, true serenade with the camera, but also modernist thinking and experimentation, and the patience that she had to have to work with him. And so the story behind having dinner with Eleanor was I literally was washing dishes with her one night, and I just was going to be kind of a jerk and say to Eleanor, whenever I wanted Donna to pose nude for me, Donna, my wife, I'd always say, well, Eleanor did it for Harry. And I thought she'd go, hoo, hoo, hoo. No, she looked at me, Stephen. Whenever Harry was in the mood, I was there as his model. And we didn't make cheap glamour photos. We made art together. And I almost dropped the dish that I had in my hand. I did not expect that from her. There's never a time in all the years that I've been studying and looking and marveling and rejecting aspects of the art form photography. This is something that is impervious, that I always find. There's an innocence in this work. It's none of this. There is a playful child in Callahan's work, as well as you can see the influence early in his career with Ansel Adams and him rejecting and printing different parts of his career, some of these things in high contrast or a full tone image, that he was always at play. And the fact that Eleanor is Mother Earth here, that she is just the nutrients of this ground, the root system coming into her body, I thought was a really good, fun one to pick. I opened my semester with my intro class with a catalog from the Museum of Modern Art. I think it's 1976. And even the book design is amazing, because even the text opens with Callahan, very small. And then you turn the page and it says Callahan. and then it starts with a little leaf in late February, an oak leaf melting in the snow, printed really small. But then as the book, it crescendos into big images and then small images. And there's that one of Eleanor's backside, her buttocks with just a little line, right? Yeah. Just like that. And you think it's like maybe the thistle or the weeds you're going to see in the following page. And I just toy with the students all the time showing that book. for so many reasons. And it's one of the best introduction books on the art of photography. And there's no other person. It's Harry that leads the way for the kids.
To the great man, without question.
Without question.
Stephen DiRado, what a pleasure having you on the Crit House. Thank you for joining us.
So next time we can do 150 photos, right?
Let me build up to that. And thank you all for watching the Crit House.